Good morning, church family. We're having another straight talk, and we get to be with the Salt and Light team today. Have some really exciting stuff to update you all on. I've mentioned before that we're doing a celebration. It's just a season of celebration, and how we're celebrating that. One of the ways we're celebrating that is we've taken some money out of our budget, $20,000 for our local ministries and $20,000 for foreign ministries. And just saying, how can we be a blessing to our partners? And so this team, us and the elders had this great idea that this would be really fun, but we gave you guys the work of doing all this, and they've just done an incredible job of this discernment process, meeting with each of the teams from the different organizations and discerning what's God's doing and how do we put this together. So we're going to just hear a little bit from each and every one of them and get an update. So before we get to that, you guys know Steve. He's the loud one among them, and he's the one he's leading the charge. And lots of thanks around this room for you, Steve, and your ministry. Tell us again so that we can hear it. What's the vision of 5110? Why do you, or not 5110? I did this when we were talking earlier. Salt and Light. What's the vision of Salt and Light, and what's the hope that the congregation will just get pulled into serving?
Well, as I had mentioned before, it's so important for us to realize the blessings that come when we serve the Lord, and when we started with Salt and Light, which was our community missions, we had to think of how can we be salt and light in a community. We can be salt and light in our church congregation and helping and doing this and that, but in order to get into the community, you have to get out of the chair and you have to get into the community. And so what we really want to see happen more than anything else is for people that are in the congregation to have an opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity and feel the blessing there is of serving the Lord that way. And we've seen it over and over again. When somebody does it once, they want to do it again.
Yeah.
And if we could just get everybody to try it once, I think we would have a huge ministry in this town.
And an impact on that. Yeah, well, it's exciting to see just how far that's come and continue to give that invitation. Before we get to the 25th anniversary celebration stuff, Chuck's going to give us an update on the most recent project that we did, which was serving with 5110 and going and being a part of their work project. So, Chuck, tell us a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, there was 7 full-time volunteers, 2 or 3 part-time for the week that we were there, and there were 11 Ironman volunteers that came in and volunteered as well. So we had thought that there was going to be a much larger group, but because of COVID and some other issues, it actually was a smaller number of people, but it was just right.
Yeah.
God had planned that it was just the right number, and so we were able to help come alongside. The primary drivers were the Ironman folks, but in the process where there was no hay barn, now there is a hay barn. And where there were no parts and pieces inside the horse barn, now there are. And so Greg and Ilsa are just super excited, and they are just pumped. They're getting ready for the children to show up, I believe, in a week or 2. Mm-hmm. And they're just so excited to see everything happening right now, to have actually have a bathroom down in the horse barn that is taking place. So
wow, that's
really
great.
Excited.
Yeah, and there was kind of a capstone project with the 3 crosses. I think we have a picture of that.
And the 3 crosses, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a project 2 gentlemen took on to convert some logs into some memorial crosses up on the hill. So that was an amazing deal. And you can see them from the highway.
Well, yeah.
With binoculars.
And one of the things that was really phenomenal, the way that we ended the work week was on Good Friday, and we had just finished installing the crosses, and then we actually had a Good Friday service, communion service up there that was probably the most emotional I've ever been at a Good Friday service, when you're looking at the crosses with the mountains right behind it. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Wow. Well, it was great to be a part of, and we have some pictures of that, but thanks for all your guys' work and partnering with them. I know I saw Greg on Sunday. He was just, you know how Greg is, elated. I asked him, did you do any work during that time? And he said, no, mostly I talked and cried, which is kind of his gift. But he just kept everybody motivated and encouraged. Well, before we go on, can you guys introduce yourselves? And if you have a ministry that you're kind of partnering with or sharing about today, you can share that with us. But let's start with you, Dave. Just introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Dave Schaufler, and I'm the liaison for the Ark Valley Helping Hands organization here for the county.
Awesome.
And I'm Cindy Blount, and I'm the liaison for the Arkansas Valley Mission.
I'm Frank Rooks, and I help wherever I can, pretty much.
Nice.
I'm Mitzi Norton, and I am the liaison for the Buena Vista Pregnancy Center.
Okay.
And Chuck Aloisi trying to follow Frank helping.
Nice.
Don't worry, we'll get them plugged in.
Yeah.
And then we're missing a few others that, because of previous commitments, couldn't be here today. Ann Lackey is the liaison for Creekside. Tanner Brasser is the liaison for 5110. Peter Anderson, which you all know, is the liaison for DPCA. And I'm Steve Blount, and I'm the liaison for the prison.
Great. Well, we had this idea that God had blessed us with some extra money after the building had been paid off, and we decided, hey, God was leading us to give some extra money here. So it's been really neat to hear the testimonies of how those resources have been prayed over, and you guys have met with each of the organizations to kind of discern, where should we give this money to. So Steve, tell us a little bit about kind of the process that you guys have gone through in discerning, where this resource should go.
Yeah, this was just an incredible time. We were just talking before we went on air here that as COVID came, we lost the ability to do a number of the things that we always did before that was such a blessing to us to give into the community. And then have this opportunity when we were given $20,000 was like, wow. And so for us, the first thing we did is probably in December, we started contacting the 7 different agencies that we come alongside, and we asked them, if you had some extra money, what could you do that would benefit your ministry? And so they all were like, what? And, the more they thought about it, we just kept saying, look, we don't want to help you pay your electric bill. We want to know something that you can do that will really better your ministry. And so we let them think about that for a few weeks, and then eventually each liaison would talk with them and then encourage them, and eventually they would present to us a written proposal, a professional proposal, especially if it was construction and those kind of things, and then we would get that. And then over the course, probably from January until the very beginning here of April, we met with each of one of those agencies and had them come in and tell us a little bit about their ministry, a little bit about what's on their heart, what this proposal might do, and how that would help them in their ministry. And so it was an incredible time especially when we got to meet with each one of them. Some of us knew each one because we're a liaison or whatever, but all of us in the room meeting and hearing all about what they're doing was just a phenomenal experience for us all, as we really learned a lot more about what their hearts were. And then at the very end, we were able to, and of course, through this whole process, we spent quite a bit of time in prayer, knowing that we were going to have to discern how do we distribute these funds.
Right.
And so we've gotten to the point now where we have prayed over it, we have met over it, and miraculously, quickly, we had a unanimous vote on how do we disperse those funds. And we're really looking forward to actually handing each one of these agencies their check sometime next week.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, we want to take time just to go around and highlight these ministries and the projects that came in, what's behind this, and what are the ways that you guys are excited about blessing them. So let's just we'll go around the room. Let's start with the Helping Hands ministry. Tell us just, what is this ministry, and then what way do we get to bless them?
Well, this organization, Ark Valley Helping Hands, is a county organization that specifically focuses on the elderly or the seniors in our community. If they need help, they provide a service, and they ask for a lot of volunteers. And when a senior needs help, whether it's raking their yard, cleaning windows, going to go get some groceries, they'll send out a message on their contact list. Hey, we need this. There's a need. Can you provide this need? And the program is where the seniors would buy into the organization. There's an annual membership fee, and some of those seniors cannot afford those. And so through this gifting that Clearview has provided, is that we can give them scholarships. And so the money that was allocated for Ark Valley Helping Hands will be used for scholarships for that need.
That's great, and they still get a buy-in into that organization, which helps them receive help, or it's easier for them to ask for help, and can kind of encourage them in that.
Right. I mean, if you feel like you've bought into the service, they're more willing to call and ask for help.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's great. All right. Well, Cindy, let's highlight the mission. You're the liaison for the mission. Tell us a little bit about that conversation and what we get to do to help them.
So I usually meet with Sharon Sandifer. She was the volunteer coordinator, but and she's also on the board of the mission, but she no longer coordinates the volunteers, but she's the one that we continue to have conversations. And so I told her that Clearview had given this money for our 25th anniversary, and was there something that we could do for them, for the mission, that was above and beyond just their ordinary everyday needs? Did she have any ideas? And so she said, well, we really could use some new counters. They have like porcelain tile counters, but they're old and worn out, and they're not as sanitary. They're harder to clean these days. And then she said, well, and we also could use a new floor, but that would be way too much. So I think the countertops would be the best project for you guys. So I said, well, that'd be great. Just go get a quote for us so we know what we're talking about, and present it to us, and we'll get back to you. So shortly after that, maybe a couple of weeks, she gave us the quote, and we were looking at it, and Steve said, oh my gosh, this is pretty inexpensive. I mean, is there anything else that we could do for them? So he said, why don't you call her back and just see, I said, well, they were thinking about the floor, but she thought that would be too much. So I called her back and said, the tiles is a great project, and we think we could do that, but is there anything else? What about that floor? Oh, I think that would, that's a lot. And I said, well, I know we don't have that much time left now to get the quotes in, but if you would work on that, I think that you have a shot at that. Let's present it. So she did, and she called me a week later, and she was so excited because she thought the quote was really more reasonable than I think she had anticipated, and a possibility, but she was still very much like, but it's okay if all you can do is the counter. That would be such a blessing, and we'd be fine with that. And so I said, well, just give us a quote and we will meet and we'll let you know. And so at our meeting, we were able to take on both projects, to finance both of those projects. So I saw Sharon on Sunday, and I told her that we had voted, and the meeting was a wonderful meeting. Everyone was unanimous, and both projects have been cleared, and she'd be getting a check, Mission would, shortly. And she said, oh, I'm so excited, I can't believe it, God is so good, and I'm gonna cry. And Chuck, didn't you have a conversation with her on Monday?
On Monday, she was just walking on air. She was just tickled pink. And she went and showed us the counter. Yep, it definitely needs to be replaced. And she showed us the floor, and it was great.
So now they're gonna get a completely new floor and new countertops, and the people, they've still been able to stay open. They have set up in their main room where they used to feed the people, which can no longer happen. They've set up tables and have food stations, so people one at a time can come in and select whatever they might need and take it with them. So now there's going to be a beautiful new floor and new countertops, and it was just such a joy to give her that news and to have such a great response, and to be part of Clearview that's, you know, missions minded and community minded.
Ah, that's great. And I think especially this year with the pandemic, it seems like from the conversations we've had that it just was a really neat boost for a lot of these ministries where so much has been taken away to have an unexpected kind of encouragement that they weren't even thinking in that way. So Cindy, thanks for sharing, and all of you that are helping with the mission on a regular basis. I think that's been really great. All right, well, Frank, do you want to highlight for us? You were in the meeting with Creekside, and even though you're not the liaison, you know, you said you'd give us a little update on what we're able to do for them. So tell us, a lot of people don't know what Creekside does, and tell us kind of generally what's their mission.
They provide a lot of what they do is provide a space for people to meet. They have Bible studies and group meetings that people can come in and just work through things there. They also provide a lot of food and meals for people in our area, and that was the way that we were able to help. Is they have been trying to coordinate with a national company that will help, a food pantry type company that will help provide food for them, but they didn't qualify because they didn't have a large enough space. And so with the funding that we were able to give them, they'll be able to expand their pantry to be large enough to qualify and to help them with the new freezer that they needed. So
Wow. That's great. It was kind of a catalytic gift. It's a gift that expands what resources they're able to give.
yeah.
Neat to hear all the creative ways. Another thing that I heard from you guys as we talked is just you guys learning a lot more that these organizations are a lot more creative and involved in a lot more areas than even realized until you sat down with each of these leaders and listened to their vision. So I think that was good. Well, Mitzi, tell us a little bit about the Pregnancy Center and what we get to do over there to help them.
You know, I started volunteering there about 3 years ago. Might have been 4 now, but it has been such an honor and a privilege to be there, and to now Naomi Allen is taken over as director, and to get to know her a little bit about her vision for the Pregnancy Center. And the amazing thing is that when we have our clients come in, they come in for classes, but really they come in for fellowship. You know, young moms who may be struggling, want to connect with other young moms, you know, what discipline is working, what's not working, you know, and so we really don't have a space for them to sit and visit with each other. And so Naomi had been praying about knocking out a wall early on and just saying, you know, our space isn't as usable as it could be. And so when we had presented this, that we had some money, I think she was the first one in with her proposal, because she had been thinking about it and dreaming about it, and just saying, well, how are we going to make that happen? It's COVID. And so she was so excited to know that this would be a possibility, to be able to have just a community space for moms to come in and to use it maybe even down the line with a Bible study or doing a class that would be benefiting the moms that come and the dads as well. So it's pretty exciting to be able to see that vision come into fruition as well.
Yeah, and it does have a little bit of a clinical feel right now, and I love that vision of it being more of a community connection point for moms and for dads and kids. So that's really exciting. Thanks for your work there. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about 5110. We already highlighted, I don't want to miss you, Chuck. Who are you representing?
5110.
5110, right. Okay, so Chuck's going to tell us a little bit about 5110, and we already highlighted, you know, what we were able to do with this, with the volunteer time. But as far as resources, how have we been able to kick in with that?
There's a tremendous human need, and that is to, anyway, they are so excited about having plumbing down at the barn instead of having to run back up at the house. And we're going to be able to help them with that to complete that project. So they will have hot and cold running water, and they are just jazzed about that. So
Yeah, and having a child that goes out there for 5110 who waits till the last second to go to the bathroom. I'm very excited about this proposition also. And if you've never been out there, it's quite the hill to get up to the house where there's running water. They've been doing some porta potty stuff, which has been costing them a lot of money. So that's really great to be able to help them with that project. All right, well, let's highlight next our relationship, our connection with the prison, and what's the ministry out there, and what are they looking to be able to do?
Well, I think everybody knows that's been coming to church here that the prison has had a really tough year. And we've been supplying yarn and stuff for them to do knitting, but
And some snacks, right? too?
Yeah, I was just getting to that. But with all of the COVID and so forth, they have had their officers having to work double shifts constantly. And so we were able to supply these snacks just to get them through those extra hours and so forth. And so finally, we have just stopped that. They said, I think we're ready to be back to normal, so we don't need to do that anymore. So it's been a really, really tough year. And the prison has not been able to have anybody come in because of the COVID. They have gone through chaplains before. They've got a part-time chaplain that was able to come 1 day a week but couldn't come because of COVID and just started to come. I just had a meeting with a new chaplain that's going to start in August that will be able to start coming and doing some of those things. And some of the things that the prison does that's really, really effective is when they bring in some of these outsiders groups that can have some kind of entertainment or something. They just never had any sound equipment. They never, people would bring a little boom box to with a thing and so people couldn't hear. So what we're able to do is provide them with all of the sound equipment that they need to be able to do a professional job now. And so they are ecstatic as well as everyone else to even ask for it. I mean, I had to keep going over and over. There's got to be something. There's got to be something you guys can do. And the more that they thought about it, that's what they came up with. So we'll be able to supply them with the money they need to be able to purchase enough sound equipment with mics and speakers and soundboards and so forth. So again, just can't believe, we can't believe that we've been able to be part of such a giving time in such a difficult year.
Right, yeah. Well, that's really neat. And we've also been able to, through Steve and the liaison there with the prison, been able to have the messages and services from Sunday. One of a really cool thing, the elders made the decision to put in the video equipment, and it was neat to be able to think this isn't just for us, but we are able to bless the guys in the prison that are in there and get those services over to them. So that's been another really cool thing. All right, let's highlight DPCA, which is our local Christian school, and there's a project there that they wanted help with, and we were able to.
Yeah, at DPCA, they had a number of projects on their list that we could help with, and when we brought in Josh, their headmaster, to talk with him, we asked him right out of these three, is there one that stands out to you that would be, a much better impact for you? And he came back with us and said, we're trying to put in some sanitary type fountains where the kids can fill their water bottles sanitarily and that kind of stuff. We really, really could use a couple of these fountains. Our old water fountains are obsolete. They don't have them, didn't work anyways, and now with COVID they don't allow it anyway. And so he thought that would actually be the very, very best thing that they could do to get started during this COVID year, to have these water fountains doing that. So again, we were able to fund what they need to have those water fountains put in, and we look forward to be able to hand these checks out next week, and we're going to see a lot more smiles when we see them face to face and hand them that check. So again, I can't thank Clearview, the elders, and the leadership here of having the insight to be able to go outside. Too many churches spend their time inside, And going to foreign missions, going to our local Salt and Light missions is just an incredible opportunity to spread the gospel out
Yeah.
and not stay in. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And thank everybody that is part of this. Not only did we make this decision, but we put this out to the congregation and we had a unanimous vote. That unanimous vote wasn't just a vote of, yeah, let's do this, but people's resources in a very difficult year. I mean, we're not passing the basket around every Sunday. People are taking a lot of responsibility to get online, to drop checks by, you know, I mean, in a lot of different ways. Our budget has done well so far this year. Last year did really well in the midst of this, and so, you know, this is budgeted money. So as you guys, as the congregation gives money, this is the money that we're giving out, is the resources that are coming in. So it's the whole church is a part of this, and even if you're you know, not involved directly with any of these ministries, you're you know, involved indirectly by giving your resources. So we want to say thank you for that. Also want to say, you know, as you're listening to this and maybe the Spirit prompts you by just an interest in the Pregnancy Center or Helping Hands or the Mission or DPCA or 5110, and you just want to know more. And it's been our last interview, we had some couples that heard this and said, man, I want to get involved in 5110, and followed that leading and got connected. So, you know, as you're listening to this, be open to the Spirit of how He might want to connect you with one of these ministries. Well, thank you, team. And for those that aren't here, some of the other folks that weren't able to
Can
make
I
it.
interrupt one?
Yeah,
I think
go
I
for it.
forgot two people when I forgot to mention, but Cindy
Okay.
Jacobson is on our team and George and Gail Crook. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't want to leave them out. I apologize. I just blanked out. So.
No, thanks for mentioning them. And this team has really grown in numbers and in strength and size and unity during this season. You guys, thank you for all the extra meetings that you guys have put together to meet with all these folks and listen. And I think one of the honoring things, not just to give money, but for you to sit down and really listen to what's God stirring in you and what's going on in your midst, and just taking time to be interested. I know, you know, sometimes as a missionary, Mitzi knows this, just to have people interested in what you're doing is a huge gift. That you would take the time out of your schedule to say, we want to know about you. We want to know what's going on, what God's stirring. So thank you guys for serving and the meetings. I know sometimes Steve he's the slave driver of things, keeping going. We give him a hard time. But you guys have answered that call, and just been really neat to see that. Okay, what's next for Salt and Light? What do you guys got next on your radar, and how can we help in that next thing? I think it's Blessed BV Day.
Blessed
right?
BV Day, and Dave is going to be our lead
liaison.
on that, so he can
Give us some details. How can we help?
Yeah, Steve being the driver that he is, pass it on to me.
He's a good delegator.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, we've done this for a number of years, Blessed BV Day, and unfortunately last year we didn't get to do it, obviously, because of COVID. But this is a great opportunity to serve our community and give back. You know, there's a lot of sacrifices that have gone, you know, by our leadership, you know, city leadership, police, our parks department, public works. And, you know, this is an opportunity where we can really join with them and, you know, do something for our community. And there's also another group that's on May 25th is when we have Blessed BV Day. And there's another group that's also doing an activity where they may have seen on the paper or Facebook, BB Beautification Day. And so we're doing it at the same time that they're on.
April 25th.
Oh,
Yeah, April 25th, right.
May.
May 25th.
April 25th, sorry.
Nobody's going to show.
That's right.
Except for me. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for that correction. But anyway, so there's gonna be a lot of people out there doing a lot of activities and things, you know, for our city. And we have, you know, Zach, you've mentioned last Sunday about signups, a sign-up table here at the church. I've had calls from small groups saying they want to volunteer. So we want to get as many people as we can, and we'll make assignments here at the church. I'm asking everyone to arrive around 12:30 to 12:45, and we'll start making out all the assignments, get out the tools. we would also ask that you bring a tool, such as rakes, leaf rakes, bow rakes. Some of the activities that we're gonna be doing, of course, is cleaning up McFellney Park, like we did 2 years ago. Picking up trash around the park and also raking the leaves and sticks, Columbine, some of the other smaller parks, raking up the mulch that around the playground areas, things like that, if we have, the volunteers. So as many volunteers that, we can get, better it's gonna be. And I really hope that we get it like we had last time. I think we had 150 2 years ago, and we're getting more and more as time comes in, people signing up. So it's just an awesome opportunity as a church to be able to, support our community.
Yeah, and go be the church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's
Right.
great.
And the impact, it's interesting. When I talked with, Chuck and I have been sort of meeting with the city officials, the Parks Department guys, and they were just so excited. And, sometimes I'm wondering, it's sort of unexpected for a church to give themselves like what we've been doing, and it just really excites them, and it just makes a good connection, with the city and our church and all the people that are involved.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. Thanks for taking the lead on that and all your work for that, and all of you guys as a team. We so appreciate it. We so appreciate you guys being that group that's constantly reminding us, hey, let's get out of our chairs. Let's not just be inward focused, and let's be the church. God's placed us here in BV for a reason, and let's be a blessing. So thank you guys so much, and thank you, congregation, for being a part of this, taking part of your Saturday morning to listen about what God's doing. And we'll keep updating you. We're going to be giving updates on the mission team also as they look for places to give monies away and be a blessing. Also, all of these organizations, we're still giving to them on a monthly basis on our normal budget. And so this is just a bit above and beyond thing that we are really excited we got to do. So God bless all of you. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen and to share this. Feel free to share this video with somebody that you know, maybe that's involved in one of these organizations, just to spread the word of what God's doing. So God bless and have a good rest of your day.